the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard, and we are live at the epicenter of the sports betting capital of the world, Circa Resort and Casino in downtown Las Vegas for the lid lifter to the 2024 NFL season. Can't wait. We are on air with this show for the next 3 hours. We're actually going to be on the air for 4 hours today, with the show following us for an hour as well, getting ready for game time. Paul Charchian, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer, 30 minutes from right now. Plenty of props to go over with this game in week one. Randy McKay, professional sports bettor, one of the very best contest players in the world. He's going to join us. Also, he hit a jackpot. You won't believe what it paid this week. What a way to start and get ready for the football season. And Brad Powers, college football and a little NFL with him coming up a little bit later on. How you feeling today?
Right.
Pretty good?
Depressed. Just get it over with. Let's get to February.
You want the season done?
Yeah.
You want futures to be cashed out? I want the Super Bowl here already.
Oh, man.
Huh?
What a way to start the season. I got 4 pages of props here. I can't get enough.
Yeah, I can't wait to run them all down. By the way, nice strong debut from Adam Shine, making it rain here on VSiN as the lead-in Monday through Friday to Follow the Money. Now, good job out of him live from New York City as well. I'm with you on that. And by the way, now I'm looking at the screen, and more books have moved down to 2.5 in this game, where we're broadcasting from, circa 2.5, minus 120. South Point here in Las Vegas also showing 2.5 right now. That's at minus 110. They don't go to juice at the South Point. Keep that in mind. And at Westgate, they have changed the straddle this year as well. So they have 2.5 right now on the Chiefs, minus 111. Ravens at plus 2.5, plus 101. Most other books here in Las Vegas and beyond at 3 with the number.
All right. I like the Chiefs. We bet the Chiefs. I'm not going against Mahomes here. The whole world knows the Lamar Jackson ATS number as a dog. I think they want to get that bad taste out of their mouth, what happened last year when they lost this game. How nuts do you want to get with the Chiefs this year? Bill Barnwell, ESPN.com, says 15 wins. And Adam Chernoff says this is the best offense they've had with Reed and Mahomes, and this could be the best team, and I can't disagree with that either. Where I'm at is all the losses Baltimore had, and how do you overcome this on the offensive line and on the defense? And oh, by the way, yes, they were the 1 seed, but they were number 1 last year in turnover margin. So all this everything went wrong for Kansas City with the fumble recovery luck and the turnovers and losing their turnover battle and all the giveaways, and the opposite happened with Baltimore. But here, the last time we saw these teams collide, it was 17-10. Lamar Jackson was terrible. The game plan was horrendous. And now you've had some new faces now, and you had the change in the dynamic of that offense. So it's.
I will say this, Paulie. You have to throw out the history here with this spot and the 2 individual teams, right? Because Lamar is amazing as a dog. John Harbaugh has been exceptional as a dog, and in week 1.
Yep, 12-4.
Yep, you flip it. Patrick Mahomes in this spot, right, as a dog or favorite of 3 points or fewer, has been basically automatic. So take all of that. Crumple it up and throw it in the garbage. It means nothing going into this game because you can build your case around both sides with that. Doesn't matter. So tonight has nothing to do with the previous 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, whatever they played. I will say that I think one angle does, and I bet it like this, in fact, tonight, based on his history against the Ravens and some of the losses they had defensively with personnel and also the DC. I know that this is a square play, or a sharp play, I should say, but the history of Travis Kelce against the Ravens defense, if you go back, he averages 6+ catches and 87 yards last 5 games. In fact, here are the games overall. 7 catches, 77 yards. 7 catches, 89 yards. 6 catches, 87. 7 for $109. And then again, he was almost like an afterthought. Like, what's Kelce going to do against Baltimore in this playoff game? Not shaping up to be a good game. Oh, really? He had, 10 catches at halftime and 11 overall for the game, $116 and a touchdown. So I bet him over 57.5 receiving yards last night. I think we're going to get a steady dose of him.
Okay.
I think he's going to. So all those catches, which obviously means he's been a target monster, specifically against Baltimore in his career. Lamar's average stat line against KC, 17 for 30. 187.5 yards, a touchdown, half an INT, and a 78.9 career rating. Not great.
Mm-hmm. The thing I might have problems with is how are they going to slow Mahomes down in this offense, even without Hollywood Brown and some pieces, right? Because how many shots do you take deep to Worthy? What does Rice do? What does Pacheco do out of the backfield? You like Kelsey. You lose a lot of pieces on that defense, and you lose your coordinator. And it was historic what they did last year. Number 1 in scoring defense, number 1 in sacks, and number 1 in takeaways. That never happened before. And they certainly did an excellent job last year in the title game after the first quarter, right? But I would think Kansas City's going to be able to move the ball, and you're not going to be able to slow down Mahomes. Where I'm at is, what does Henry do? What does he have left in the tank? What does he do not only tonight, and what can he do for this offense and this rushing attack? That's a tough question. I can't wait to talk to Paul Charchian in half an hour to see what he thinks.
Definitely shop around. I'm seeing between 62.5 and 66.5 rushing yards right now with him.
Okay. I think Pacheco. Okay. I think. What do you expect
out of Derrick Henry? Not a big game. I mean, am I going to be surprised if he has touches at the goal line, which could result in a touchdown? No, of course not. But this Chiefs defense was exceptional last year.
Yeah.
And all the numbers from a year ago and what they allowed, and also what the Ravens allowed on the ground, they were dynamite at not allowing running backs to score touchdowns overall. Ravens led the entire league. I think they only allowed 6 touchdowns the entire year, and the Chiefs were right behind them. They only allowed 10. So it's easier said than done here.
I was a little concerned of what Spags said, that some of the key guys missed much at camp with injuries and in and out, and maybe they're not ready to go tonight. Maybe that's nothing, or that could be something to watch either. So we'll recap that tomorrow. I don't know. I just wanted to put it out there as well. But there's a cool prop up where both running backs have 30 yards in each half, and it pays 12-1. That's at FanDuel, and I saw some people giving that out on X as well.
That's Pacheco and Henry.
Pacheco and Henry. I think both guys could be okay tonight, and certainly I think a big game out of Pacheco, and I like him over 99.5 combined rushing and receiving.
I love the way he runs. Paul Charchian, again, was super high on him last year. He's really high on him again this year. I think he's going to get his touches tonight. In terms of, I love betting the primetime games with the first touchdown scorer.
Oh, you can't get enough of it.
I love it.
Yes, you do.
So I've made a handful of bets on that tonight. I will give you this from last year, and all of these numbers are up at vsin.com. Adam Burke, now the man in charge. If you track it and go back, you can find tendencies with teams and who they like to look at once they're near the goal line or around the 5 to 10 yard line. And the Ravens scored the first touchdown in 14 out of 17 regular season games last year. 15 out of 19 games if you include the playoffs. 82.4% in the regular season, number 1 overall in the league. Running backs. Now, keep in mind, this is where the Henry part comes into the equation here, because there's no more Dobbins. There's no more Gus Edwards. Mm-hmm. They've been replaced. Running backs combined to score the first touchdown 7 times for the Ravens last year. Lamar did it 3 times. Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers each did it 3 times as well. I'm on one of those guys. The Chiefs scored the first touchdown in 12 out of 17, third best in the league, 14 out of 21 if you include the playoffs. Pacheco did it 6 times last year. Right now, this is the Chiefs' first touchdown overall. Rice 4 times, McKinnon twice, Kelsey did it twice. Ravens also scored first in 12 out of 18 games in 2022. That was 3rd in the league. Chiefs were top 10 in the league. If you go back to that year, Kelsey scored KC's first touchdown 9 times. 5 of those were first overall in the game. What I did tonight is, and I missed the best number by a couple of minutes on Isaiah Likely. I love this guy.
Sure.
He could be a star, a stud receiver, tight end / receiver starting on like 25 other teams. I missed 36-1 here at Circa. I got 32-1. I also bet for the Chiefs, Samaje Perine at 34-1. Because McKinnon last year and the year before was a guy. McKinnon scored KC's first touchdown in 2022 5 times. People don't know that. People don't remember that. Mahomes looked to him all the time around the 5-yard line. Little dump off. Perine is an exceptional receiver out of the backfield.
You don't want any Carson Steele? There's support for him. Anytime touchdown, 5-1.
There's maybe anytime. First
can't get there.
I saw as low as like 20-1 in that guy now.
All right, so that's crazy. 75.
But that's the point, right?
Yeah,
Those people have been betting him now for the last 2 days.
Okay, so that's your baby. You want to start there. I want to go from the get-go. We've had a 70-cent move on the opening kickoff touchback. It was 280 at DraftKings. Now it's 210, plus 210.
Oh, wow.
So all this talk about the new rule and what's it going to look like, okay, it's going to be the average is 28-yard line. Who knows? I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how this is going to play out, not only tonight, but the first week and the whole season. So a 70-cent move there, and a little bit of rust. Don't make a mistake early. I like no score first 5.5 minutes of the game. Could be tough, though, because you got two great kickers who can bomb away from 55 plus, no problem. But I like no score first 5.5 minutes. 70-cent move on a kickoff, and so much to get into with the props as well. But the one, and it's also $2, but still, both teams to score a touchdown and a field goal, minus $2.
Both teams touchdown and a field goal.
Yeah.
Okay, that would have cashed last time when they played in the AFC title game, 17-10. They both got there then. I went back and looked.
This doesn't seem that difficult, but yeah.
I went back and looked at the history of these two teams playing only since 2018, since Mahomes got on the scene for KC. They have played in a lot of high-scoring games. Like 27-24, if you take out the postseason game from last year, 27-24 from 4 or 5 years ago was one of the lowest-scoring games they had. Jackson came back and beat them 36-35 in that one game. They scored the final 2 touchdowns of the game. So the total has been going back and forth pretty much all week now, with Sharps getting involved on that, and now they finally took some under 47 in the game tonight. 47? That's a lot of points now.
Especially what happened in the last meeting, no doubt. I mean, still, you got the number 2 top 2 defenses last year.
Yeah. Paulie loves betting this prop and usually likes to find a dance partner to parlay it with. We'll get his approach for tonight coming up next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Paulie, you've been betting this prop for many, many years. Usually it's a pretty heavy favorite. It makes sense. It has to be. The number on it has changed, though. It was always different globally compared to here in Las Vegas or stateside.
70-cent difference usually, yeah.
And you usually like to find a dance partner to parlay with. Explain this to the afternoon crowd.
No defensive or special teams touchdown parlay with the game tonight and then the game tomorrow. 4 quarterbacks that I trust, that won't make mistakes. And then I don't think we're going to see anything significant with the return game as well, with the new rules. And also, I wouldn't expect fireworks in the with the punting angle as well. So parlay pays minus 120. Like that, played that. It's shop around again as low as 260, as high as 320. Both teams to make a 33-yard field goal, minus 120.
Have you seen longest field goal for the game tonight?
Yeah, 47.5.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I went back and looked. Again, only since Mahomes took over in 2018. It's been Butker and Tucker kicking the entire time for both teams. That's 5 games now that we have. 5. They have combined to kick, I'm just talking 40-yard field goals now. Combined to go over 40 yards 5 times in those 5 games. Some games never had even a 40-yard field goal. I think 52 was the longest, and I think it only hit 50 once. So that it comes down to, again, how many times will these teams, like, is it going to be the perfect storm?
Harbaugh's aggressive, but certainly he doesn't care. He'll put him out there from 60, and he can make it no problem.
But will
both guys, but that's...
Here's the question. Will they go either team? Because Butker has an insane leg as well. Will either team, 4th and 2 opponents' 37-yard line, trot their kickers out there tonight for an attempt?
No. Unless it's right before halftime.
I think it's got to be halftime or before the... And maybe they do that, but it just, there's we've gotten to this point where probably not an EV play, plus EV play there to do that. They usually go for it now.
I like who's going to have the most receiving yards tonight. I mean, that is just, I like the prop, but I have no idea who to pick with Flowers and Kelsey as your co-favorites, and then Rice there as well, and Andrews. Your guy Likely's 45-1 here at Circa. Aguilar's 35. Bateman, a lot of people think he's going to have a big year, is 20-1. And then what is Worthy going to do?
That's the big unknown, right? The biggest question mark maybe of the entire game.
Will he have 50 yards in the first half is 4-1. Will he lead in receiving yards is 5-1. I don't know. I'm here for anything with Worthy related, but I don't know what to expect in that one.
I think you have to take a bomb in that market. You got to take a Bateman type.
Yeah.
You got to take somebody like Hardman's
60.
I can't do him.
All right.
What about
Watson's 50?
Like a Watson type, somebody like that. Because Kelsey and
It's a tough call.
By the way, Andrews with the off-season issues.
Yeah, plus 440. I can't do that.
No, there's no way you could bet that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't bet Kelsey. Could have a big game go over his number, but you want to dig for somebody a little bit deeper than that.
Mm-hmm. Octopus is 14-1. Will the same player get the touchdown and the 2-point conversion? Will someone score 40 points? Is 6-1.
Oh boy.
And then great stuff here at Circa. Chiefs win. Pacheco touchdown and 70 yards plus 450. Baltimore plus the points. Henry 70 yards rushing. Lamar 60 yards rushing plus 450. That's at William Hill. And then they have at Circa some good stuff as well. Pacheco, Rice, Kelsey combined 3 touchdowns, 4-1. Henry, Flowers, Andrews is 5-1. And then, much like the AFC title game, Kelsey scores, Chiefs win, almost 2-1. Pacheco scores, Chiefs win, almost 2-1. Andrews scores, Chiefs win, almost 5-1. So it's just there's so much stuff here. Anything you want, you can bet tonight. And what I talked about earlier too, that's great. Both running Henry and Pacheco. Can they both have 30 yards rushing in each half? Is 12-1 at FanDuel.
I think there's a path here where Lamar can go over like alternate rushing yards tonight.
Yeah.
I saw some
dropping the weight. Okay.
Yeah, I saw some pretty good video earlier today. A film person on Twitter sent this out, and it was the issues potentially here with the offensive line, and they showed like some of the gaps that they had and how off they were in the preseason. And the point was, now you're going to go from this, and a couple of guys they played like 1,000 snaps each last year on that offensive line, but with the new guys coming in, not a lot of chemistry here. They focused on some of the whiffs they had in the preseason, and the point of it was now they get to go from that to taking on Chris Jones and KC. They're like, good luck.
Sure.
So maybe if the offensive line is really struggling again tonight, and Chris Jones and company with this pass rush, they're really creating a lot of havoc up front, Lamar could just resort to being like, dude, I'm getting out of here. I got to use my feet today. I'm not going to have any time to make these throws, get my progressions in. They're bringing the heat all game long. I got to use my feet here. I think there's a little bit of a narrative to that, but also it does make sense with the possible problems they're going to have there up front with the guys in the trenches. So, so that 60 plus yards and a touchdown is plus 210, you said?
Yeah, that's available too. Mahomes no interception is even money. I played that, and longest touchdown of the game, 39.5. I went under that one as well.
You went under that one?
So who knows? Maybe it's a complete opposite of what happened in the AFC title game. Who knows? But again, I just think I'm not going to be as aggressive as Barnwell with the 15 wins. But you not only do you lead the league in drops last year, it was the most in 10 years by your wide receivers.
Right.
So that whole, I love what they have, and everyone catching the ball now. And even if you don't know what you have out of Worthy, but still the ceiling's so high.
Yeah.
That's why I just think it's minus 210, and now it's moved 50, 60 cents. But 210 to win the division, 1 seed, 13, 14 wins. I think it's all in play for the Chiefs.
I want to ask you about the narratives after the game tonight and into tomorrow based on a couple of results. What if the Chiefs just take them behind the woodshed and it's a burial? It's a bloodshedding. Bloodletting. And they beat them 37-17. It's never a game. And they're in control the whole time. Mahomes looks fantastic. The people who are on Ravens under, missed the playoffs. Are they going to be, will that validate their opinion on that after one game? And then flip it around. What if this game is and has a similar result to the Ravens at the 49ers last year on Monday Night Football, when Brock Purdy was like minus 230 to win the MVP, and the Ravens went to SF and they blew their doors off?
Well, if you're concerned at any point, anything about Kansas City related, you're out of your mind.
Well,
we did this last year, and we all looked like idiots. I mean,
I'm saying from the flip side, though, because you got to just say, okay, that's one game. Chiefs are going to be totally okay. We're not going to panic with that. It was a bad performance. But then do we look at it and say, I guess we overreacted about the Ravens. Like they're going to be a force again this year.
I'd be surprised if they win the game. But also I want to see what they do offensively, and if it depends how it plays out. If they're impressive and win going away, then it's okay. Yeah, maybe people have to fix their predictions and what they said before the season, no doubt, and the chances they get off to a hot start. And it certainly worked out for Detroit. You weren't overreacting last year.
No,
when you were blown away by Detroit going in there and getting the W to start. That's no doubt that's impressive, and the big edge goes to the home team, and they've had so much success in this spot going back 10, 15 years. I want to see what they look like defensively, though.
The Ravens.
Yes, I think you lost too much, and that's a big issue you're going to have, right? Yep. And certainly the luck factor isn't going to go your way. Kansas City's not going to lose the turnover battle in 9 games, and they're not going to be 5th in turnovers. And Baltimore's not going to be number 1 in the turnover battle again.
Think about the differences between these two divisions, by the way. It's a knockdown drag-out every single Sunday in the AFC North. Even though the Steelers are projected to not be good this year, they went 5-1 in their division last year. They were a playoff team, and they were not that great of a football team. Every time those teams play in that division, it's slugfest. They beat each other up, and it can go any way. In the other division, I would lay 2.5 games with the Chiefs in the AFC West.
Yeah. Should be a runaway. No problems. And now you've seen Cincinnati at DraftKings is now the co-favorite with Baltimore to win the division after what's happened in the offseason.
Yeah.
So that's Sal, Pal, others. I mean, missed the playoffs. And going to be a down year for the Ravens. Some people think that. But, again, you have to love Lamar Jackson is 58-19 career. That's his record regular season. So that's the issues are in the playoffs.
No, it's an amazing record.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And you also go back, what is it, the last 7 years, only 3 guys have won the MVP? I mean, it's Lamar, it's Mahomes, and Rodgers.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So that's this guy's Superman. But it's a tough game. But I'm going to have to take Kansas City at home. Yeah. But it's a fascinating game with all. I don't know. I like the under. I like the Chiefs. But I'm not going to be surprised if it's high scoring and Baltimore looks good. And Lamar's throwing it all over the yard, too.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? I bet the Chiefs earlier in the week, -2.5 and -120. Since then, the Super Contest opened up their numbers last night.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs -2.5. So I made that. I submitted my picks already in one of my entries. And I went before the show started. I was going to do it after the show tonight, sign up for Millions here, 5 picks ATS every single week. The Circa Millions also posted Chiefs -2.5. So I rushed it in so I could get the entry ready because I wanted the Chiefs on that ticket. So naturally tomorrow, because of all of this, we'll be talking about a Ravens win, of course, and starting 0-1 in both these contests. Let's hope not. Fingers are crossed. But I had to do it at that number. I thought both contests were going to make it Chiefs -3.
As did I.
So, and this is the 1 week I ran into the Mad Russian before this show started.
Okay.
It's the only week of the year you can use a Thursday night game. I fully believe in that.
Okay.
Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian next. We'll get his opinion on Derrick Henry's Baltimore debut.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, you ever get scorching hot and think your picks are worth money? Juice Reel, the way sports bettors buy and sell betting advice. You and everyone links their accounts into Juice Reel. All your history loads into the free app. Everyone's bets imported straight from the books. You're as good as your data says you are. Unlock the picks the real talented bettors have their money on. Get paid real money when other people unlock your picks. Fully transparent betting device from real people. Only on Juice Reel. Download for free. iPhone or Android. Great to have you guys back. REEL. Juice Reel. Grab it. Download it now. Juice Reel. Here he is. New time. Our man, Paul Charchian, Fantasy Hall of Famer, GuillotineLeagues.com. Follow him on X as well. Picks, props, previews, everything fantasy related. Great to have you on. Good to see you, my friend. I have to get your thoughts on Henry right off the bat. What do you expect not only tonight from Henry, but for the season?
Yeah, well, this is actually, I think, a very, very tricky conversation. Henry's metrics have gone down, like all the rushing metrics and his success rate and broken tackles. I mean, elusiveness, everything you want. It's gone down the last couple of years, clearly at the very end of what's been a borderline Hall of Fame career. But the advantages that he gets in the Baltimore offense are just tremendous. You get all the diversions that defenses have to deal with in a Lamar Jackson offense. You get a much better offensive line than he had in Tennessee. It'll be fascinating to see how much they use him tonight. Now, in the AFC Championship game, which I'm sure you guys have referred to many times, of course, it's a low-scoring game. The Ravens ran the ball with their running backs 6 times in the whole game. 6. That's not why you bring Derrick Henry in. I mean, that's telling me that they didn't trust their running backs, and of course, they let them all go. So Henry's going to come in here and have a far bigger impact than that. I'm still expecting workhorse level carries here in that 18-ish range. And, the thing is, Kansas City's got a good run defense, and the 6 backs that they faced last year that did have 18 carries, they averaged 90 yards. They didn't score a lot of touchdowns. Kansas City only gave up 6 all year, but you can get to 90 yards. Henry probably finds his way into the end zone here, and I think that we're still looking at a pretty good game against a run defense for Kansas City that was good but not dominating last year. And that's their fun new toy. And I want to see if I suspect that Baltimore just wants to try to command the clock and give the ball a lot to Derrick Henry in this game.
Yeah. Paul Charchian with us, GuillotineLeagues.com. What do you want to do when you look at Xavier Worthy's props? Are you trying to be positive with him, or do you think he goes under? And then for people who drafted him and probably at this point of the year, pretty high up in their fantasy leagues, do you take a chance and start him tonight on Thursday night?
This is the hardest call from I think a fantasy and betting standpoint of the whole night, because first of all, rookie wide receivers generally don't do much in their debut games. Second, dude's a track star turned NFL player, and those guys generally need a lot of time. Also, the Baltimore pass defense is awesome. They only gave up 12 wide receiver touchdowns all of last year, and only 2 of those 12 were to speed guys like Xavier Worthy. The rest of them were like big-bodied guys like Amari Cooper and George Pickens and T. Higgins and Keenan Allen. Big-bodied guys had way more success against the Ravens last year. But no Hollywood Brown. And that, to me, is the thing that tips me over on Xavier Worthy. If Hollywood Brown were in this game, I'd be like, Xavier Worthy's looking at 20 plays, and he can't do it on that. But with no Hollywood Brown, I think he's on the field like 40 plays. And if you're Andy Reid and you've been dealing with his declining passing distance on Patrick Mahomes year after year since Tyreek Hill has left, the field has gotten shorter and shorter for Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to want to put some deep balls on tape to Xavier Worthy and make opponents have to defend the back end of their defense some. So I'm leaning yes on Xavier Worthy. Overs on, I don't even know what the over is on yards, but I would be, if it's, I'm guessing it's in the 38 to 40 range.
44.5.
44.5. I'm leaning over. He needs like 2 catches to get there with his speed. So
how about this? As you're talking it out, Charch, sorry to interrupt. How about Worthy over longest reception then?
Oh, well, I mean, he could easily bring in I wouldn't surprise me at all if he had a 25-yard reception.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you just said. Yeah. Paul's on the progressive guest line, by the way, as well. So you mentioned it too. So what do we do now? What do you want to do with Harrison, Neighbors, and Adunze with these stud wide receivers?
Yeah, we just talked. Generally, I like to avoid the rookie receivers in their debut games, but there's some compelling action here to be had. Neighbors. I love Neighbors the best out of these 3. So these are the first 3 guys that were all drafted in drafts. All of them in the top 8 picks of the draft. Neighbors gets a Minnesota secondary that gave up the 6th most fantasy points to receivers last year. Got overhauled with veterans who other teams did not want at cornerback. Shaq Griffin and Stephon Gilmore. I mean, there's a reason they were available. I like Neighbors. Adunze gets the Titans, a defense that finished as Pro Football Focus's 27th ranked coverage unit, and they overhauled their secondary too. They landed one good cornerback, L'Jarius Sneed, formerly of the Chiefs, but he's got to cover DJ Moore. So Adunze is going to have far inferior coverage. I like Adunze as well on Sunday. Then there's Marvin Harrison, and this is the hardest one of the bunch because he's going up against Buffalo. That was obviously a very good pass defense last year. Only 3 receivers topped 82 yards against the Bills all of last year, and he's going to draw Rasul Douglas, who was awesome for the Bills last year. So out of the 3, Harrison, although the first guy taken in the draft, worries me the most. And if I was going to rest any one of those or bet against any one of those, Harrison would be the one that I would shy away from. Okay.
You've been touting Khalil Shakir, Bills wide receiver, slot guy, for like 6 months now. And I have him, I think, in 2 or 3 of my fantasy leagues. He was sniped last night, right before I was going to take him late in one of my. So you know how that feeling went for me. What did you make of his numbers that were first posted on the betting board?
Yeah. Yesterday I saw him at over 38.5 yards.
Okay.
And to me, this is compelling. The over. Arizona is the opponent. They roll into the season coming off a year in which Pro Football Focus ranked them 30th in coverage and 29th in pass rush. So what did the Cardinals do organizationally to solve that? They poured a first-round pick, a third-round pick, a third-round pick, and a third-round pick into their offense. on paper, the Arizona defense looks no better this year than the version that got steamrolled last year. They finished last year 31st in pass completion percentage, 25th in sack percentage, and 29th in yards per pass. And now here comes the Bills. Their only returning veteran receiver is Khalil Shakir. Curtis Samuel's dinged up with an injury. And if you remember from us mentioning Shakir a month ago on the show, dude ranked third in yards after the catch last year behind Deebo Samuel and Rashee Rice. I mean, we know those guys are really good. And here's Khalil Shakir out of nowhere. So your Arizona starting quarterbacks, last thing, I know we're going too long on this. Sean Murphy, Bunting, Starling Thomas, and Garrett Williams. So your starting Arizona cornerbacks, their Pro Football Focus coverage ranks were cornerback 107, a cornerback 128, and cornerback 99 last year. Khalil Shakir, let's pound the over 38 and a half yards.
All right. How about Minshew over 216 and a half passing?
I like this one too. Chargers allowed over 216 in every game but 3 last year. And those 3 games were a Blaine Gabbert start, a Bailey Zappi start, and Lamar Jackson in such a big blowout that he never even threw the ball.
Okay.
The other 14 quarterbacks that faced the Chargers last year averaged 284 yards. That gives us a 68 passing yard cushion over today's line of 216. And by the way, Aiden O'Connell in this matchup went over 216, and he's far inferior to Gardner Minshew. And you might be thinking to yourself, Charge, you stupid stringy-haired hippie. Certainly the Chargers will be better on defense this year, but they only added 1 cornerback to their starting rotation, Christian Fulton, and that's subtraction by addition. He was Pro Football Focus's 123rd ranked cornerback last year. So I like Minshew. I like Minshew over 216 for sure, but I'd also consider the over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus 165.
Yeah, you like Zach Moss over as well, rushing yards. Quickly, the number one player that all fantasy people are going to be watching Sunday is who?
Bijan Robinson. He finished last year as the 12th highest scoring runner, but he went off the board in the middle of the first round, like pick 6 in most leagues.
Multiple leagues where he went second.
Yeah, second, right? I mean, to support that kind of massive move, he's got to have a huge uptick in utilization in this offense. The problem is, offensive coordinator Zach Robinson is saying specifically that won't happen, that Tyler Algier is going to be back in the mix again. You know, I look, objectively, Robinson's way better than Algier, but sometimes it doesn't matter. I mean, look like Aaron Jones was a billion times better than A.J. Dillon, but it didn't stop Green Bay from running a committee for years. And it's a Zach Robinson-led offense. We know almost nothing about that offense because the Sean McVay coaching tree cycles out anybody within fart-smelling distance of Sean McVay in one season. So we get nothing to go on Zach Robinson. So this is going to be the most fascinating development is how Bijan Robinson gets utilized.
Yeah, there you go. GuillotineLeagues.com is the site. If you've never tried it before, you got to give it a shot. Go ahead, Charge in 30 seconds. Tell people why it's such a fun format to play.
Unlike regular leagues, there's no head-to-head. Instead, every week, the low-scoring team gets chopped from the league forever, and all the players go to the waiver wire, where the rest of us build superstar rosters. All you have to do is not finish last. It's GuillotineLeagues.com.
Excellent. Thanks, my man. We appreciate that.
Thanks, friends. Talk to you in a week.
You got it.
There you go. Paul Charchian on the Progressive guest line every single Thursday before game time. Up next, win-lose. How about a 28-1 and 30-1 shot cashing in Major League Baseball on the same day? Details next with Paulie.
Last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
All right, that happened again. No-hitter. Cubbies combined 30-1 at Will Hill and Caesars. DraftKings offers it well. It was 25-1. They put it up every day, and how about that?
Did you see or hear Shote's answer when they pulled them?
I did not, but I also thought that was a tough air in the first inning. I thought that was a hit. That's a tough play for the third baseman.
He said he didn't know he had a no-hitter.
Oh, come on. No way. It's like Kikuchi. I need 16 hours of sleep. I can't get there. Doesn't make any sense, right? How do you not know? Although it didn't seem like the ballpark
You
was
just
really
lose
into
track?
I don't know. Come on. Grand Slam, yes, minus 120. Cashes again. I'm telling you, it happens every night, it seems. Dogs won 8-7 straight up. Angels plus 175. Overs 10-5. And the White Sox 3-1.
Yeah, they got me. I bet the Orioles, when we were on the air, in play to come back and never had a
8-1.
chance.
Yeah, they lead off the game with a home run. Don't score the rest of the game.
I can't tell you
about
how
that?
much I hate this Baltimore and I hate this Yankees team.
Yeah, right.
I hope they both lose in the first round.
Most runs scored. Here's what you mentioned. Mariners 28-1. 16 spot. Of all teams. The guys are hitting 214 as a team. 28-1. Red Sox, 9 straight overs in games started by Houck. Got there again. Diamondbacks, 8 in a row on the road. They're up 2-0 right now, and Snell's out of the game. Pagula, plus 285. She wins. In tennis, WNBA, Fever sparks over. The gift that keeps on giving, 170 up to 175. 22-11 and 1 to the over this year. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos? Send them in, we'll put you on TV. Look at the dog here, right? The dog watching, right? The gals sitting around, celebration, right? Look, okay, distraction! Give me the donut! He comes in the sign and eats it, right? He was waiting the whole time, he had it planned. As soon as all the girls stand up and they high-five each other, give himself a hug, he walks in and give me that, jumps up on the table and grabs the food. Yeah, head on a swivel. You gotta be careful, right? That is awesome. Smart dog. Had the whole thing planned. Genius. Like this, how about Sean, who works here? Have you ever seen this move, Mitch? He comes home. Oh, my husky. Rescue. On the table.
Right on the table.
On the table. No couch, no floor. On the table. Love that. What a good looking
Don't
pup.
mind me.
That's right. Yeah, what's your problem, right? Yeah. You got a problem? I'm on the table. That's creative. I've never seen that one before. No couch. No floor.
Our dog Frankie will lay wherever he wants, whenever he wants.
Okay, yeah. All right. And I wanted to, this is my guy. One of my favorite restaurants in Las Vegas is Andiamo at the D. And this guy's been around town for a long, long time, and he's been at the D at Andiamo for a long time. That's Miguel, our waiter last night. He's so good. He also has some stories. You could write a book. I know you mentioned this on air a couple weeks ago, and it was a beautiful send-off by Matt Humans and others. He worked at Ruth Chris for over 20 years. Dave Koken had a VIP spot in the back. They were open until 3 a.m.
I remember that.
Koken, and that's the first time you told that story. Like, you go out to eat and have a steak every night? He goes, yeah, what of it?
Yeah.
You couldn't believe it when you moved to town. He would wait on him all the time. I had to break the news to him, which was unfortunate.
Oh, he didn't know.
But Dave would go all the time, and he would get a steak and a big meal at like 1 a.m. And he would love Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Mayweather would go in all the time. Tip $100 if you got close to him. And he had a great story that the owner one time came in with some ladies, and he goes, let's go, Miguel. Fire up the limo. We're going out. He goes, I got a 3-4 tables here. I'm the only guy working. He goes, the manager will take it. Let's go. And he goes, what am I going to do? You're the owner. He got in the limo, had a great time, got home at 8 in the morning. That's my guy, Miguel. Go see him.
How many times did Koken go in then?
He said he had his own booth.
It was like three, 4 times a week? Yeah, that's the way Koken made it seem.
Yeah. Well, also the manager at the guys at Andiamo too said he was also the same spot, that he'd be 4 or 5 times a week. Yeah. Incredible. Go see Miguel. Love the restaurant. Lose some. Orioles 320 up to 380. My God, what happened? Come on, guys. 1 run. Can't have that happen. And I'm with you. One lose some. Now remember, Frank B mentioned this when he was in studio last time. This is on X. Bobby G tweeted this. He's at 4 Queens down the street. He gets dealt aces and a kicker on dollars. He holds it. He hits the button. It drops the ace.
The machine by default
does it.
I'm not holding
on
that
its own.
ace.
Yes, that happens. And like what Frank B said, they can go back, hand history, don't panic. If you hit the button on accident, if there's something sticky, if you don't, right? They paid him. He got his $2,000. But again, it could have been a lose some, but turned into a win some. Because remember, Frank B told the story. The guy got dealt 4 to the Royal. He was so excited. He hit the button. He didn't hold anything. And he would have won $8,000. And he didn't go back. He didn't know they could go back
right.
and track the hand history, and they would have paid him like they did here It's a machine malfunction. They didn't hold the other ace. The machine did it on its own. Of course, you're going to hold aces and a kicker if it's dealt. They paid him.
Well, especially when it held it on the top line.
Uh-huh.
I've never heard of this happening before. Like on multiplay,
and the machine will
and it drops one of your cards.
Yeah, all happened to me many times. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, tough. All right, great one. Oh, you learn something new every day. Bad beat. Chris Massero had this. Oh God. Tigers first 5-0 in the fourth, 5-2 in the fifth. Can't cash.
Yeah.
And then they lose the game on top of it, 6-5. They don't score the rest of the way.
Both ways.
Yep. College football's already here. NFL kicks off tonight. Never been a better time to become a VSiN Pro subscriber. Make this football season your best ever. Full VSiN Pro access, daily best bets, the betting splits data, the great videos, our updated NFL betting guide, post-preseason updates for every team, week 1 betting systems, and best bets through the Super Bowl for $175 or the monthly subscription for just $9.99. VSiN.com/subscribe. Sign up, watch or listen wherever you go. VSiN.com/subscribe. What a deal. $175 through the Super Bowl. Good job, guys.
I will give you some notes today around the league, and we will hit the entire Week 1 card tomorrow on Friday's show. This is from Ian Rappaport, NFL Network. Something to watch for Sunday. This is a little earlier in the day. Steelers coach Mike Tomlin told reporters that Russell Wilson reported some calf tightness, and he is going to get checked by the doctors. He was limited in practice. I would, at this point, not be completely shocked if Tomlin says we're just going to go to Justin Fields. And then what happens to the number? Because we've seen now Falcons money coming in for a good 2 weeks in a row, and it's up to 3.5 now. Mm-hmm. And they're 3.5 in the contest here at Circa.
Yeah.
Because Wilson looked like trash, and maybe he's done.
There's a lot of people saying
maybe.
That. I know.
And he was complaining of the calf in the preseason, looked horrendous during the games and during practice. So maybe at this point in time, just say, you know what? I can't wait any longer. We got to make a move to Justin Fields. I actually think I would do that if I'm Mike Tomlin.
What I love about that game, and it's been said by many people, but it's hilarious. Watch out for Atlanta now. They got rid of Art Smith. But then Pittsburgh's offense should be better now because they got rid of Art Smith.
Yeah, how about that?
And now you have him as a coordinator, and it can't be any worse than last year. Or can it? Right?
The Falcons were the biggest train wreck in football last year.
Yeah, right.
The quarterback-coach combination was, it was just bottom of the barrel. They had the easiest schedule in football, a winnable division, and they just blew every game on the schedule pretty much. Mm-hmm. And that guy was a major reason why. They've drafted, everybody knows the story by now, they've drafted elite skill guys for several years in a row. Let's not go to them, though. Let's not make them a focus here of the game plan. Also, Christian McCaffrey dinged up, calf/Achilles on the injury report. It's not new, but Shanahan had to list it in full disclosure. So the season for the 49ers here, man, they're if the Ayuk thing would have happened where they traded him and Pearsall doesn't get shot, so Trent Williams changes his mind, this had a chance to spiral, I think. I tweeted this out earlier today.
Yeah, I like this, and I love the responses. I can't wait to kick this around later.
A lot of good ones on this, and thank you for on X, at Mitch Moss Radio. He's at Paulie Howard, at VSiN Live as well. I asked you to drop your strongest NFL opinion or wager you're the most confident in this season. The one, and here's how I phrased it, the one you like so much that you can't wait to say, I told you so. But you still have to admit it if you're wrong. Mine is Detroit's the best team in the NFC, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I had a lot of people saying that about the 49ers with the under. They love their win total under this year. As do I. I bet them under 11.5.
Yep. And then we always see change and turnover, right? Expect on average 6 new playoff teams.
Right.
Bill Barnwell said no to Philly. Philly out. That would shock me.
Oh.
Because I'm so down on Dallas. I mean, his list is really wild. But he's right about the turnover, but the new teams. But he took an interesting path with who's coming in and who's going out.
Here's the thing. I think we're going to get some pretty high-priced, division finishes of 1-2 that we're not seeing right now. Okay. Could be in that division. One of the best contest players in the world is going to join the program coming up next. Randy McKay in studio. Does he ever take a number in a contest that is worse than the current number on the board?